Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Ganānāಂ tva ganapatigam havāmahe kavim kavīnām upamashravastamam jyeshtarājam brahmanām brahmanaspata ānashruṇvannodibhisseeda sādanam Mahāganapataye namaha prano devi saraswati vājebhirvājinīvati dhīnāma vitrivatu vāgdevyai namaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Sushtuvagum Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitayadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashrabaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti na Stariksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Bruhaspati Dadhatu. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarva dharmasvarupine Avatara Varisthaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of Mandukya Upanishad and the Karika of the Gaudapada Acharya. We were studying the 14th Karika. So, in the 14th Karika, we got the reference of supporting verses from the Bhagavad-Gita. Because, as I told you yesterday, Bhagavad-Gita is nothing but the Upanishads or Vedas made relevant. So the Vedas were in the Satya Yuga, Krita Yuga. Upanishads, the Vedanta, they were all in the Satya Yuga, Krita Yuga and Treta Yuga. So now after so many thousands of years, maybe 30, 40, 50,000 years, it was misunderstood and it was not followed properly. So now to set right the dharma, righteousness, Lord Krishna took the form, the same Paramatman took the avatar, a human form, and he gave the right meaning. So you can see in the Bhagavad-Gita, many of the Upanishadic verses are quoted as it is, toto, many. So, Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandanaha. That is in the meditation verses of Bhagavad-Gita, Sarva Upanishadaha Gavaha. All the Upanishads are the cow. And who is the milker? Who is the milkman? It is Gopala Nandanaha, Lord Krishna, who is giving that essence to all of us. Then, which is the calf by which the calf will go and start to get the milk? You know, you see how the milkman in olden days used to milk the cow. So he used to allow the calf to go and suck the milk. So afterwards he will pull away the calf. He uses the cow to allow that milk to come out of the udder. Then he takes away the calf, he milks it, and he will give it to other people. So Lord Krishna is the milkman, who is the calf through which the milk was drawn from the Upanishad, Arjuna. Then who are all the people who are getting the milk to drink? We all of us. So it's the essence of Upanishad, and Lord Krishna is making it relevant, that's all, to this day or to this age, Kali Yuga. So again, Krishna's teaching also has crossed more than 30,000 years. It was in the Dwapara Yuga. Now again, another avatar, the Yuga avatar, Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Sharda Devi had to come to make the same teachings relevant to this present day. So that is going on. The Lord will come again and again. Now here you can see we can take the help of Bhagavad-Gita shloka. So what was told in the earlier Karika of Gaudapada on the Māṇḍūkya Upanishad, it was told that, the waking state, in the waking state we identify the Atman, our true nature identifies with the waker's body and is called Vishwa. Then in the dreamer's body it is called, the same Atman identified with that will call Taijasa. Then finally in the deep sleep state it is called Prajna. Now the compare and contrast thing has been started by Gaudapada to show the difference and how we can dissociate from these external world and all the problems, all the things, and associate with the Turiya. So that's why he's comparing, Gaudapada is comparing. So the first two comparison of those two states, in the waking state we have so many things, past, present and future, and we are getting so many circumstances. So what are we having here? What are the important things which is here in the waking state? Ignorance. Because of the ignorance of our true nature, that we are the Atman, we are the Parabrahman or the Turiya. So we have self-ignorance, so it creates self-misconception. Anyata grahanam. So it is wrongly identifying with so many other things, that I am weak, that I am useless, I cannot do these things, so many other things, so many other habits identified with so many other bundle of habits, samskaras, desires. So it creates ego, and you see all the problems are there. You will feel weak, or you have so many other maladies, problems, miseries. So that is because of the ignorance, self-ignorance and misconception. That is in the waking state. What about in the dream state? Yeah, when you are identifying yourself with the dream body, that is the Taijasa, then too there is the self-ignorance. Then self-misconception is also there. You are now introvert here. The mind is introvert, it is gone and associated with the samskaras, desires and the memories, and it is dreaming in a dream world. Now in the prajna state, it is now contrasting, comparing, and what is the thing in the prajna state? There is self-ignorance, but it is all in the potential state, deep sleep, so no activity, nothing. So only self-ignorance, there is no self-misconception. That was the difference created. And in Turiya, all these are absent. No self-ignorance, no self-misconception. And then Gaudapada in the next Karika, 13th Karika, he told about in a different way. What was that he told in that Karika, the 13th Karika? He told that he contrasted between Prajna and Turiya, in the deep sleep state and the Turiya, your real state. What is by the comparing and contrasting, what did he get it? So now Prajna is associated with the Atman in the potential body, deep sleeper's body is associated with self-ignorance. So there is no self-misconception. Then what was the other thing found there common to? This is the contrast. So there is self-ignorance, no self-misconception. In the Turiya, there is no self-misconception, there is no self-ignorance. But there is one thing common between them two. What was the common? We came to know the contrast. The common feature is there is no duality in both. So in the waking world and the dream world, you have duality. You see multifarious world and you are separated. You see the body and the world separate. You are the witness. I sense and the whole subject and object relationship is there. But when you come to Prajna, it's only one Only self-ignorance is there, but there is no duality. In Turiya also, there is no duality. These are the common features we studied in the 13th Karika. Now, we are studying the 14th Karika. Now, the same thing, the self-ignorance and self-misconception, they are told in different terms or words. Different words are used. What is that? The first two are associated with dream and sleep. So for self-misconception and self-ignorance, the terms here used are to compare and contrast is dream and sleep. So the first two, waking state and the dreamer state, are associated with dream and sleep, but prajna in the deep sleep state is associated with dreamless sleep. So now it is a little confusing, isn't it? So that's why we are taking the help of Krishna's verses. Let us understand this Karika. So in that same Karika, 14th Karika, Gaudapada Acharya is telling, but wise men, intelligent men. Now we are all trying to become wise men, using our intelligence, our viveka. God has given us plenty. All these days we were not using it. Now we are using it to get the benefit of removing our misery and identifying with our true nature, the Turiya, and coming to know our real nature. So wise people see neither sleep nor dream in Turiya. So earlier it was self-ignorance and self-misconception, and the difference and common thing was shown about the duality, Advaita. Now the terms used are dream and sleep. So we have to understand what is this. So here Gaudapada Acharya using the same idea, which is presented again here, is in different terms. What are the terms? Dream and sleep. The first two quarters, that is the waking and dreaming state, where we are called our body, when identified, our Atman, our true nature identified with that waking state and dream, it's called Vishwa and Tajasa, respectively, are associated with misconception and ignorance. Now let us understand what is this sleep and dream. The ignorant wake up. When we are in the waking state, all of us, what is common to us? Self-ignorance and self-misconception in the waking state. So we are ignorant. So the ignorant waker, who has the ignorance of his self, of the Atman or his true nature, he is spiritually a dreamer. This world, in the waking state, is also a dream. To the spirit, to the Atman, to his true nature, is not woken up, is still sleeping. Only a Gnani, a realized soul who has identified with the Turiyam, who has got dissociated from these two states, alone is truly a waker. We may be in the waking state, but we are always dreaming. Either we are in the past or we are dreaming about the future. We are not in self-awareness at all. We don't identify with ourself at all. We are not living in the present. Self-awareness is not there at all. Either we are dreaming about the past or we are dreaming about the future, though we are in the waking state. See, we will be eating, we will be thinking somewhere, we will be working, our mind will be somewhere. That's why there will be so many accidents and so many mistakes. Why? Because we are not living in the present, we are not identifying with our true nature. We are either in the past or in the future. So even though we are in the waking state, we are dreamers. Spiritually, we are a dreamer. Only a Gnani, who is identified with his own self, the Turiyam or the Parabrahman, alone is the true waker, because he lives in the present. He will always identify himself, dissociate from this dream world or this waking world in the past and present. Though he is living, he will identify with his own self. So now, Gnani alone is the true waker. Now what about Prajna? That is in the deep sleep state. Prajna is also associated with mere ignorance. That is sleeping, deep sleep, without misconception. without dream, that's all. There is no dream at all, but he is in deep sleep. So here, see the compare and contrast has been taken up with the term of dream and sleep. Now, the prajna in the deep sleep is associated with mere ignorance, self-ignorance. So he is sleeping deep sleep without misconception. So no dream. Wise people, that is, we are trying to now become wise people, will see neither ignorance, that is sleep, nor misconception, dream, in Turiya, that is our true nature, and will claim that we are that Turiyam. Now comes the help of Krishna's Bhagavad-Gita here. We can understand it. What is that Bhagavad-Gita shloka which we can take up? Now this sleep and waking state. Though we are in the waking state, we are really in dream state. We are living in the past. We are living in the future, not in the present, or we are not in our own Turiya nature. How, where Krishna has told this? Go back to second chapter, the 69th verse. Second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga, the 69th verse. What does Krishna tells here? I mentioned that shloka. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. That which is night to all beings, all the living beings who are in ignorance, that which is night to all the living beings. For all the living beings, the common things is self-ignorance, and because of that, we are in self-misconception. So, that which is night to all beings, therein the self-controlled one. Now we are trying to become that, the realized soul. The self-controlled one, he keeps awake. That in which beings are awake is night to the sage who sees. So we will understand this. Then this Karika will be clear to us. By the words of Krishna, by this verse of Krishna shloka in the second chapter, 69th verse, Ya nisha sarva bhutanam yasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. From these words, the simple meaning of which is that which is night to all beings, therein the self-controlled one who is identified with the Paramatman or Parabrahman or the Turiyam, he keeps awake. That in which beings are awake, the living beings, all the living beings who are in self-ignorance, where they are awake, that is night to the sage who sees. Now here, in this verse, Krishna makes a very staggering statement. What is that? What is night to all the living beings is day to self-centered sage, the realized soul. What is day to them? That is to all the living beings who are in ignorance is night to the realized soul. Such seemingly inconsistent and confusing. It is seemingly. So such seemingly inconsistent statement appear in other parts of Bhagavad Gita too. Why does Lord Krishna gives this seemingly inconsistent and seemingly confusing statements? Because such statement, that seemingly inconsistent statement, confusing statement helps heighten the listener's attention. Otherwise, we are dreaming. Even now, though you are hearing the lecture, your mind will be running here and there. So when some confusing or seemingly inconsistent statement are made, you'll start scratching your head and brain. Then you will try to give up that dreaming and come back to what Krishna tells. That's why, to help heighten the listener's attention, particularly to emphasize an important subject, Krishna makes such seemingly inconsistent and confusing statement, so that it looks seemingly inconsistent. Let us understand. The experience of the ignorant man, the experience of ignorant men or any other living being, but let us take human being because we are all human beings. Animals, all the other living beings will give up now for the time being. We'll take up all the ignorant men, all of us. The experience of the ignorant men of the world and a man of enlightenment are as widely divergent as night and day. Could you understand? A self-realized sage ever awakened to the supreme consciousness. Now you can understand. We are all supreme consciousness. Now he has dissociated from this unreal world in all the three states, waking, dream and deep sleep. He has dissociated from that and he is in pure bliss and pure consciousness. That is the man of knowledge, a self-realized sage, ever awakened to the supreme consciousness, lives a life of infinite knowledge and bliss and light. Knowledge is light compared to light. Consciousness is compared to light. The beings of the world, the ignorant beings of the world, we all of us, know nothing of such a life. Instead, we are all attached and involved in the world. We are all caught up in the web of perceptions and actions of the body, feelings and emotions of the mind, and thoughts and ideas of the intellect. This involvement fetters their lives with limitations and restrictions. They suffer from mental agitation. We all suffer from mental agitation and sorrow. Such a life is dark. Such a life is dark to the liberated soul, enjoying supreme peace and bliss and consciousness. He does not know the bondage of worldly involvement because he is dissociated from the transmigratory world, this temporary world, mithya. He does not know the bondage of worldly involvement. Thus, the experiences of the sage, the realized soul, who is identified with the Turiyam, with his own true nature, and the other beings who are diametrically opposite to each other, two different worlds as it were, one of an infinite, changeless, imperishable nature, immutable nature, the other of a finite, changing and perishable nature. So that's why when we are associated with this, though we are waking state, we are sleeping, we are dreaming. In this world, though we are awake, widely awake, but still we are dreaming because we have identified with all these vagaries, ignorance. So that is the difference. What is meant by day and night? Yeah. So we have cleared our misconception now a little. Okay, now we'll come back to what our Upanishad is telling here, or Karika of the Gaudapada Acharya. The ignorant waker, who is ignorant to his knowledge of the self, is spiritually a dreamer. Only a gnani, intelligent man, wisdom, alone is true waker. He will be in the waking state, he will be in the present. He will be living in the present, identifying with his real true nature. What about in the prajna state or deep sleep? So in the deep sleep, prajna is associated with mere ignorance. So that is sleep. So it is mere ignorance, so it is in deep sleep. But without misconception. So it is not attached to any vagaries or the multiplicity of the world. It is in deep sleep. So there is no dream in the prajna. So there in the waking state and the dream state there is sleep and dream, both the places. But in prajna there is only sleep, no dream. So now you can understand why Gaudapada Acharya brought this contrasting things. Okay? Now let us go forward. Wise people, where we want to become that wise people, associate with our true nature, the Atman, and dissociate from all these unreal things. So wise people will see neither ignorance, that is sleep, nor misconception. Wise people will see neither ignorance, that is sleep, nor misconception, that is dream, because you are in Turiya. You have come to know your true nature. So ignorance is gone, intellectually at least, and will claim that they are the Turiya. That is what we have to do now. We have to claim that we are the Turiya. What is the advantage if we claim that we are the Turiya? We told earlier in some of the Karikas that the misery cannot touch us then. If we claim and if we go back, dissociate from this world and associate with the Turiya or the Parabrahman or our true nature, pure consciousness, then there will be no misery. That is the advantage, that is the utility. So everything, we all do any activity for the sake of utility. There should be some use. There should be some practical use. So no misery. No misery means joyful, bliss, pure bliss. So everybody wants that. Who doesn't want bliss? Who want temporary bliss? We all want constant bliss. Who wants misery? None of us want misery. So what is the goal? Exert your true nature, Turiya. So now let us take how to make it more practical, understand it practically. We shall take the help of Bhagavad-Gita of Krishna. Krishna describes a Gnani, man of knowledge, who we want to become. Krishna describes Gnani who knows that he is not a doya. Though he is doing everything, Krishna explains here, though we are all doing everything, but in reality, a Gnani knows that he is not the doer or an enjoyer, because it is only the Indriyas, it is only the mind associated with these three states, Indriyas of Indriya, and the world is going on. But in reality, you are the Turiyam, which is not associated, the Parabrahman, your true nature, is not associated with mind or this world. So, we are not doing anything. It is all the Prakriti which is doing everything. The Prakriti is managing all those things. As Turiya, your true nature, you are dissociated from that in reality. But when we identify that, we feel that everything is happening and everything is going on. So Krishna is describes that a Gnani who is associated with the Turiyam, who knows that he is not doya or the enjoyer, is neither the doya nor the enjoyer. Why do we do the work? To enjoy the fruits of our work. Why are we doing the work? Because we have desires to fulfill. Why did we get the desires to fulfill? Because we have ignorance. Because we are already fulfilled. We have infinite joy within us, knowledge within us. What is there to be gained again? Because of the ignorance, wrong ignorance we took upon ourselves. So we get desires. So because of the desires, to fulfill the desires, you have to work. Why do we work? To get some fruit of action by which we can enjoy. So dependency, everything will come, all the byproducts of that. One came and the rest will follow. Now, the ignorance came to us and the rest followed. There was a very big military general, great military general with a big moustache and so many stars and all the awards he had got as a military personnel. So many awards were there, every full of things there. So somebody asked him, sir, so many gallantry awards, you are so great, Paramavira Chakra, that Chakra, this Chakra, so many other things are there. How could you get it, sir? Then that great general, military general told. What was his reply? The first medal came by mistake, the rest followed. the first award came by mistake, the rest followed. So likewise, the first ignorance, it came by mistake. And see, all these vagaries and the problems and the miseries of the world followed. So now Krishna describes the Gnani, the realized soul who has identified with the Atman or the Turiyam. He knows that he is not the doer nor an enjoyer. Even if the work is being done, when you dissociate with this world and associate with the Paramatman, you are the Gnani, intellectually at least. Now we have to become that. And we know that such a person will know that he is not the doer, though he is doing everything, is not the doer or an enjoyer. So in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna is telling that. What is that? Even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, reclining, breathing, talking, evacuating, that is excreting, receiving, opening the eyelids and closing the eyelids, all that activity. The disciplined knower, or the person who is associated with the Turiya, dissociated from the world, he understands, I do not do anything at all. Bearing in mind that the sense organs remain in the sense objects. It's only the mind in the sense organs, through the sense organs, in the all this is happening in the sense objects in the world, that's all. I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer. That is the verse in Bhagavad Gita, the 5th chapter, the 8th and 9th verse. So now we shall go to that 8th and 9th verse, and also something more is also given about how to dissociate. How should we dissociate from this world? So we will take up a little of this 8th and 9th verse, and also a little 7th verse, and try to understand this wonderful Karika. So what is Krishna saying? So in the 8th verse of the 5th chapter, Krishna is telling, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrunvan sprishan jhigran ashnan gachan swapan shwasan pralapan visrajan grinhan unmishan nimishan api Indriyan indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. So in these 2 verses, because those 2 verses come together, the meaning is also related to each other. That's why that both the 2 verses are chanted together. Here in these 2 verses, Krishna is telling, even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, reclining, breathing, talking, excreting or evacuating, opening the eye, closing the eye, the disciplined knower of the truth understands, I do not do anything at all. Why? Because bearing in mind that the sense organs remain in sense organs, so the wise person's way of life is talked about here, which we have to learn how the wise people who have realized this are living. So that is an example by which we can also start practicing dissociating from this world. How you can do all the activity. You can earn money, you can look after your wife, husband, children, father, mother, everything. You can do business, you can do everything, go anywhere and everywhere, do everything. But if you dissociate and always you are identifying with your Turiya or your Atman, Parabrahman, then all these things which you are doing will not touch you. It will not at all affect you. Miseries and the problems, anything will not affect you. So that is given here. Do whatever, sleeping, everything here, while he is telling these things, that is seeing, hearing, touching, smelling. There Lord Krishna is telling about our Gnanendriya, the organs of senses, the knowledge which gives us the knowledge when we see, when we hear, when we smell, when we taste, when we feel. So we get knowledge, cognition. So it is Gnanendriya. Then with our hands, we do the work, with the legs we move. So all the other, they are called Karmendriya. We do the action. That is organs of action. So when all these are telling, whatever you do through the Gnanendriya, the organs of senses and organs of action, Karmendriya, and any other thing, everything is done by the nature, the mind associated with the senses and the world outside, Vishya, Vastu. They are doing it. In reality, you are not affected or you are not touched by that. How? You are not at all touched by that. You are the Atman, you are the pure Turiya, Parabrahman. Any examples? I give example, that live example many times. I have given that again because this is relevant here. Now I am going to give that example. One of our devotees in Bangalore was taking in his newly bought gearless car, a very sophisticated car, some 20-25 years back. It was very costly. They wanted me to take me to a ride in that car. I told, okay, we will go to that forest area where we are doing some philanthropic work. Ramakrishna Ashram are doing in Shivanahalli in Bangalore. Adopted 10 villages and we are serving. So while going in the forest route, Bannerghatta National Reserve Forest, the roads are not scientific and the unscientific humps are there. So this car is meant for the best highways, freeways. The clearance is very low. So while going, maneuvering the unscientific hump, the underbelly of the car started rubbing that unscientific hump, that squeaking noise. So it's washed at the face of the owner of the car. When the car was rubbing and the sound, squeaking noise was coming out, I could see the face of the owner. The driver there was also twitching, pain. He could be feeling the pain. But I was there sitting here. I heard the same sound, but but nothing happened to me. Then I started comparing all this knowledge I put in. I started thinking and put it into practice. See, as the owner, this is my car. I have bought it with my hard-earned money. This is my car. The attachment is there. It's associated with the world. Is associated with the car. So he's feeling the pain, though is in no way connected to the car. Physically, experientially, he is no way connected to the car. Imagine it. But he is feeling the pain. Why? He is associating with the car. My car. I have got it. I am the owner of the car. The ownership, sense of agency, sense of doership and sense of enjoyership. Both are there. That's why he's feeling the pain. But I am no way connected to the car or anything, so I'm not feeling the pain. So in reality, in day-to-day life too, when we identify with the body, we get all the disease and the pain and everything. When we identify with the mind and the ego, then all the insults, that and these miseries, stress, everything will start coming to us. So with that example, you can understand here. Dissociate and no pain, though everything is going on. All the activities will be going on. It is belonging to the mind, associated with the organ of senses and organs of action, and the sense object, the external world, that's all. But who are we truly? We are that Parabrahman, the Turiyam, pure consciousness, which is not really associated. Because of the Ajnana, ignorance, it looks as if it's associated, and we are in pain, misery, everything comes. They follow. The first came by mistake, ignorance, and the rest, everything is following us. So now, Krishna is so beautifully telling that person is not touched. So, we went through that, both those two verses. Then after that, in the next verse, and even in the previous verse, Krishna is telling something special which will help us. And what is Lord Krishna telling in the 7th verse and the 10th verse? Let us go through one more thing from the Yoga Vasishta. What is Yoga Vasishta? It is a teaching given by Vasishta Maharshi to Ramachandra, Lord Ramachandra. It is Yoga Vasishta. In that, Vasishta Muni tells Sri Ramachandra, Karta Bahir Kartantar Antarloke Vihara Raghava. O Lord, he is not telling him, addressing him as the Lord, because though he was knowing him in the Lord, he was his disciple. He was young at that time. O Rama, externally engage, Vasishta is telling Rama, O Rama, externally engage in actions diligently. Do all your work diligently as a king and as a son to Dasharatha. Do everything perfectly, diligently. O Rama, externally engage in actions diligently, but internally practice to see yourself as a non-doer and God as the prime mover of all your activities. In this divine consciousness, the Gnani, the realized soul, see themselves as mere instruments. So that is what in the Yoga Vasishta, Vasishta Muni is telling to Ramachandra. So you do all the work diligently, everything, but dissociate from all that. Then you see nothing of the world will touch you. Now, there is one more concept brought by Lord Krishna in the 10th verse, in the same chapter. If you do, what is going to happen? If you perform, if you dissociate from this world, though you do all the activities, you are not neither Krishna nor Yoga Vasishta is telling that you have to give up all activities and go to the forest or some caves, not at all. Be doing all the activities, everything, but only intellectually dissociate. That is being told here. It is not to run away from the world like cowards. No, face the world. But internal understanding, the knowledge, that is more important. So to make it practical, to practice it, we need the help of one more verse of Bhagavad-Gita. What is that? The 10th verse, Lord Krishna is telling in the same 5th chapter, Brahmanyadaya karmani Sangam tyaktva karoti yaha. Sangam tyaktva, dissociating from all, giving up all attachment to everything, dissociating from all this world. Brahmanyadaya, keeping your mind associating with the Paramatman, Parabrahman. Do it as an offering to the Lord, Parabrahman. Brahmanyadaya karmani, all the activities. Sangam tyaktva, detachment. Karoti yaha. Lord Krishna is telling, lipyate na sa papena sa papena. How? Lipyate na. You will not be touched by any sin or any misery or any trouble, any pain. How? Just like Padma Patra iva ambhasa. Padma Patram iva ambhasa. So those who dedicate their actions to Parabrahman, so you identify with the Parabrahman, your Turiya or your true nature, and do all the activities, whatever you want, abandoning all attachment, no attachment to the world, all these three words, dissociating from that, remain untouched. They remain untouched by sin. Sin will not touch them, no misery. How? Krishna is telling, just as a lotus leaf is untouched by water. Though the lotus leaf and the lotus is in the water, it grows in the water, it lives in the water, but not even a drop of water can touch it. So you may be living in the world. That's important. We are not talking about all these things after death, after giving up the body or in samadhi. No. Here in the world, living in this world, how can we not be touched by these problems, miseries of the world, doing all the activity? Maybe a businessman, you can write books, you can do whatever you want, you can get name and fame, everything. But you will not be touched by the sins or the problems or the miseries. How to do that? Isn't it wonderful? A wonderful concept which Krishna is giving. So the example is given, Padma Patram Iva Ambhasa. If you identify with the Turiyam, with the Parabrahman, knowing that you are that Parabrahman, that is your true nature, pure consciousness, then how and what is going to happen? Krishna is telling. Now let us take this example of lotus. In Hinduism, because offshoot of Hinduism is Buddhism and Jainism, all the other offshoots of Hinduism, you can see lotus, Kamala is very, very important. Why so much of importance is given to more beautiful flowers may be there. There may be more beautiful flowers, but why Kamala? Lotus is taken as the national flower and also such an important flower in Hinduism, in Sanatana Dharma. Both Hindus and Buddhist scriptures abound with analogies of lotus flower. The word is used as a respectful appellation while describing various parts of God's divine body. It's even compared to eyes of Narayana Vishnu. And in Ramachandra, that song on Ramachandra by Tulsidas in Sanskrit, what is that? Sri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana. In that Kara Kanja Lochana Kanja Pada Kara Kanja Pada Kanjarunam. His Rama's eyes are like lotus petals, his hand is lotus petal, his face is like lotus, his feet are lotus feet. Everywhere, Vishnu's. Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryaha. In that Yahasmaret Pundarika Aksham, in that shloka, Pundarika Aksha, lotus-eyed Lord. So everywhere you see the Lord is connected with lotus. The word is used as a respectful appellation while describing various parts of God's divine body. Hence, Charana Kamala, lotus-like Charana, feet. So everything is everywhere. See that divinities, Lakshmi is sitting and also holding lotus. Brahma is sitting on lotus. Everywhere you will see yogis sitting on lotus. Kamalekshana means lotus-eyed. Kara Kamala means lotus-like hands, etc. So there is one more synonymous word for lotus flower. It is Pankaja, which means born from mud. It is born in the dirt, in the mud, in the slime. The lotus flower grows from the mud found at the bottom of the lake, dirty lake, yet it rises above the water and blossoms towards the sun. Likewise, you may be in the world, you may be living in the world, doing all the activities, be there, be in the world, do all the activities. But just like the lotus is not touched, it rises up and faces the sun. Always associate with the Turiyam, with the Parabrahman, your true self, like that lotus. Then you are untouched. The lotus, though it lives in water, it is untouched by water. That is the speciality. So the lotus flower grows from the mud found at the bottom of the lake, yet it rises above the water and blossoms towards the sun. Thus, the lotus flower is often used in Sanskrit literature as an example of something that is born amidst the dirt and squalor and rises above it while retaining its beautiful purity. That's why it is a symbol for detachment, dissociation from all the impurities, dissociation, association with the Supreme, with your true self. That's lotus is an example. Thus, the lotus flower is often used in Sanskrit literature and Hindu literature as an example of something that is born amidst the dirt, squalor, and rises above it while retaining its beautiful purity and turning towards the sun. Further, the lotus plant has large leaves that float atop the water surface of the lake. Lotus leaves are used in Indian villages for plates, taking food also. The lotus leaf we have eaten food in the lotus leaf. And it is very natural and very good for health too. In Ayurveda it is prescribed. So lotus leaves are used in Indian villages for plates as they are waterproof and liquid poured on them do not soak through but runs off. The beauty of the lotus leaf is that although the lotus owes its birth, growth and sustenance to water, the leaf does not permit itself to be wetted, touched by water. Water poured on the lotus leaf runs off the side due to the small hair-like thing growing on it surface. So with the help of this beautiful analogy of the lotus leaf, Sri Krishna here in the Bhagavad-Gita says that just as the lotus and its leaf floats atop the surface of the lake or the water, but does not allow itself to be wetted by the water, similarly, the gnani, the knower of the self, one who identifies, one who exerts, goes back to pure consciousness, the turiya, remains untouched by misery, pain and sins. Although living in the world, performing all the works, all the actions, that's what Krishna told there. Pralapan, Srujan, Visrujan, Unmishan, Nimishan, everything. All the works, perform all the works. But if you identified with the Turiya, your true nature, then you are not touched by anything. Because they perform their work in divine consciousness, dissociating from the world and associating with the Paramatman or Parabrahman or your true self. Isn't it a wonderful idea? Such practical things are given in the Bhagavad-Gita, and we could get help from Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad-Gita for studying to understand this Karika. So now Krishna refers to this idea even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving, reclining, breathing, talking, evacuating, receiving, opening the eyes and closing the eyes, the disciplined knower of the truth understands, I do not do anything at all, bearing in mind that the sense organs alone, the mind, the prakriti, the nature, they remain in the sense objects. So we got the cue, how to do. We got the example of the lotus from Lord Krishna himself. Further, Lord Krishna refers to himself as a seemingly a Vishwa, but actually the non-doer and non-enjoyer, Turiyam. In the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, in the 13th verse, we will study that in our next session. If God willing, tomorrow. I'm going to send the link if it is possible, otherwise in the future. But now, we shall understand whatever Lord Krishna has told about this concept. Turiyam, what is Gaudapada Acharya telling in this 14th Karika? There, in the 13th and in the 12th, there he made the compare and contrast technique by which we can dissociate from this world, from the waking dream and the deep sleep and identify with the turiyam. So he's comparing and contrasting. First thing is, in the waking state we have self-ignorance of our own true nature. Because of that self-misconception, that is the cause and effect. We came to know, we have studied already, that is the cause, the self-ignorance is the cause. Because of that self-misconception, because of that misery, all the pain and problem. Now, the same thing is taken up here in a different term, that's all. What is the term used here? Sleep and dream. Why sleep? What is compared to the sleep and dream? It is compared to the ignorance and self-misconception. And I gave the example through the help of Krishna's teaching that the Gnani who is identified with the turiyam will be sleeping to the way the worldly people are awake. So even though in the waking state we are, in the past or in the future, though we are in the waking state, we are spiritually dreaming. That is to the spirit, to the Atman, to our true nature, we are sleeping and dreaming. So now that's why in the 14th Karika, Gaudapada took these two terms, sleep and contrasted. So in waking state and the dream state, we are in sleep and dream, both common. In the prajna, we have only sleep and there is no dream. But in the turiya, there is no dream or sleep. That is no ignorance and no misconception. That is your true nature, turiya, pure consciousness, pure bliss. Identify with that. Always be with that. So remember that term. What is that beautiful term? Ekatma pratyaya sara. Ekatma pratyaya. Continuous self-awareness. You are the turiyam. Then no misery will touch you. So if you have any questions, if you have any doubts on what we have discussed today, you can ask. Any questions, any doubts? There are no questions on the YouTube live chat. Oh, some Manish Pradhan has asked something. Pranam Swamiji. When everything is the work of Prakriti, then when we are praying, it is also the work of Prakriti. If so, then what should be the correct way of praying while we are experiencing the waking and dream world, and also what should we really pray for? Now, we have the universal prayer given by or found out, discovered by the great Vishwamitra. We all repeat that. We all know Gayatri Mantra. In that prayer, universal prayer, what is the end part? Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. What is the prayer to the Lord there? Dhi yo naha. Naha means not you only. It's not a selfish prayer. It's a universal prayer, unselfish prayer. And what is dhi and what is naha? All of us, all the living beings. Dhi prachodana. What is dhi prachodana? Dhi here, inspire, O Lord, inspire us that we are all one with the Parabrahman. Inspire the dhi, inspire the intellect that we are all one with the Parabrahman. That is the real dhi shakti. Not only to me, the selfish way, but to all the living beings. Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat. Inspire, O Lord, inspire our intellect, dhi, in such a way that all the living beings know that we are one with Parabrahman. When we pray for others, for the welfare of the others, then we get the benefit. So I also get that knowledge, the dhi. I am also included in that naha. All of us. So that is the prayer. Dhiyo yo naha prachodayat, universal prayer. O Lord, please know that I am one with the Parabrahman, the Paramatman. O Lord, please remove. Don't put your maya on me. The power ignorance will go away. That's why always our mothers, our fathers, our biological mothers and fathers in the Purvashrama, they used to teach us. O Lord, they would never tell, give me money, give me water, give me food, give me enjoyment. Never. Our parents used to teach us to pray. O Lord, give me vidya, buddhi, gnana, bhakti, vairagya. Shankaracharya has also taught us in that Annapurneshwari Stotra, in the last verse, what is that? Gnana Vidya Vairagyancha Dehi Mata me Parvati Devi Pita Devo Maheshwaraha Pandava Shiva Bhaktascha Swadesho Bhuvanatrayam. After that, Gnana Vairagyancha Siddhyartham Bhikshandehicha Parvati. So what am I begging? What is the alms that you give? Not only the food to eat, but I want that bhiksha of Gnana and Vairagya. What is Gnana? That you are one with the Parabrahman. That is the highest prayer. But all the other prayers will take you towards that direction. That's all. Step by step. There are no other questions.
Swami, can I ask a question?
So, here in the live chat, are there any, in the live, Google Live, any questions or any doubts?
Can I ask a question, Swami?
There are no questions. Oh, just a minute. There was some question. The mic is not on. Please give me some time. The sound system was not on. Now it is on. Now the question can be asked. Somebody tried to ask the question.
Om Swamiji, this is
Yes, Mother.
Swamiji, this and this knowledge associating with God and not with the unreal is very profound. But we're in the world and we have associations of parents, children. We get used to associating ourselves with birth and identity. How do we break that attachment and that association so that we can only associate with what's real, and that's God?
Yes, Mother. I already made it practical and told that. Maybe you didn't understand that. I will repeat it again. Ramakrishna has made it very simple and gives the very simplest example so that we all can understand. Be in the world, do all the work, look after your father, mother, brother, sister, your wife, husband, children, everybody. But know for certain that one day everybody has to quit. We can't stay permanently. I came alone. Before I was born, I was not a part of this family. After I was born, I got associated with father, mother, brother, sister. Then after you got married, then you associated with the wife, husband, children, and after that, then one fine day, after maybe 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, we have to leave. Everybody will leave. Father, mother, grandfather, everybody will leave us. Children, wife, husband, everybody will leave us. Then instead of getting attached and crying, now if you associate with the Paramatman, that all this is impermanent, God alone is my own. That's why I have come here simply, but my real house. So the first song sung by Narendra or Swami Vivekananda in front of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was Mon Cholo Nijo Nikwetame. O mind, go back to your real house. That is the Paramatman, that is the Turiya. So the example given by Ramakrishna is be like a maid in this world. The maid does all the work of the master's family, looking after the children of the master, the wife and everybody like her own children, like her own mother and father. But in the heart of heart, she knows that one fine day, if the master retrenches me or removes me from the work, you have to quit that and go. So she knows that her house is in the village far off. She now is working with all the attachment and every interest. But in the heart of heart, she knows my house is there in the village. The moment now the master kicks her out of the job for some reason, she's not at all troubled. She just quits the job and go to another house to work. Likewise, like that maid servant, stay in the house. So Ramakrishna has given this example. So like that, we can stay in this world, do all the work, look after everybody with great intelligence. You can work, But your identity should be with God or Paramatman or Parabrahman. So then if you exert that, go back, that this detachment will reduce, gradually reduce, and you will be bereft of that completely. It's a gradual process. It cannot be had overnight, because for many years, for many lives, we have been in this attachment. It will take at least some time for you to detach. Any other questions?
Thanks, Swamiji. Thanks. That helped.
Yes, Mother.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Yes, Kolanji. Yesterday you were not here. I started with that thing. I think you have heard it.
Yes, Swamiji. It was very interesting, Swamiji, about the cacophony and the musician. I did listen to it. It's a very, very apt description and example of how the soul decides, and we get trapped in the room, in the hall, without an exit. You have to pay for the exit with sadhana. That was interesting, Swamiji. Thank you for that.
Another example for that is ignorance is forgetfulness. So again, see, we are forgetting our true nature. That is the cause of all problem. Forgetfulness. How did this come? Where was the first forgetfulness? So take the example of, now suppose your mother has given you a list of things to be bought from the market. You now kept it, misplaced it somewhere. Then you searched and searched and searched for maybe 1 day or so. Then finally, when you were looking for something else in the pocket, you found that list in your own pocket. So it was all through in your own pocket, but because of the forgetfulness, you searched for it the whole day, so much of effort. Now, when did you forget it? If you knew that you forget, it would have not lost at all. So you can't tell when we forget. So likewise, how did this first forgetfulness come of this thing? Because we wanted to come and see this, enjoy the world. So when and how, you can't explain.
Very, very apt, so much, very apt. But on another subject, Swamiji, the idea, when we are in a deep sleep without any dream, that means it is a state whereby we cannot commit any sin.
Yeah.
But the only problem, as very clearly with this, the 14th Karika explains, that in this state there is no self-awareness, or so that obviously is the challenge. Otherwise, it would have been just as well to go to deep sleep and enjoy the Turiya, isn't it?
Yeah, you get that Turiya. You are in Turiya only there, but only while you come back, you are just like in a cold storage. The Ajnana will be waiting there, and the moment you come out, it will cover you up.
Yes, Swamiji.
But in Samadhi, when you go consciously, when you do the sadhana and enter into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, a person, see, Swami Yatishwarananda Ji Maharaj was a realized soul, the vice president of our Sangha. He used to tell, then both deep sleep, that is Sushupti, and Samadhi should be one and the same. No. Though we are experiencing the reflected joy or reflected consciousness there, reflected Ananda of the Parabrahman, then what is the difference? A ignorant man or a fool entering to Sushupti will come back as a fool or an ignorant man. But an ignorant man or a fool entering Samadhi will come back as a man of wisdom. That is the only difference.
Yes, Swamiji. Yes. Understood. Thank you so much, Swamiji.
Yeah. Oh. Any other questions? Any other doubts? Or else I will conclude with a prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Namaste. Om Namo Narayana.
Mm.